Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing one other topic, that is city creation. City creation basically we are talking about one of the topic, that is Microsoft creation. So one of the person told that basically Microsoft created 1 lakh types of objects: iron, copper, sand, water, fruits, vegetable, each and everything basically. So 1 lakh types of death basically they also basically generated by Microsoft. Then one of the person told that yes basically that is the fact basically. Microsoft created this word. This also basically if you write certain life of paragraph basically that will generate to death. If you are opening Excel file basically, if you are writing set of numbers basically in the any of the this many cell basically, it's going to generate death data basically. If you are opening PowerPoint, this is the PowerPoint. See basically, if you are opening, if you are writing any of the paragraph here, that is going to generate death data basically. That basically word basically only Microsoft Corporation only basically might be having. No other basically might be having. No other basically might be having. Then one other person told that Microsoft basically might be knowing. Then into the 100% Microsoft has created Microsoft, then basically he might not be doing. 100% basically might be knowing. Reason word is given by whom basically? That is by Oxford University basically. So Oxford University has given 35 words. So inside that basically lots of things basically are connected basically. It's not like that basically they have given literally the word and they told that basically use that word basically. Nothing is going to happen. It's not like that basically. Lots of things basically are connected. Lots of things basically are connected. So one of the person told that this magnitude, this basically disease generated, this many death basically going to have, and this basically gets filter. Just 25 percentage people basically death basically happens basically from this data basically. That is this magnitude. Reason, the saving people basically are there now basically. Saving people are there. They are saving basically. They are doing the saving of the doctors basically. What they do? Doctors basically are to save the people basically, not basically to kill the people basically. What the energy groups doing with, there are basically 1000 disease basically daily gets generates in the world basically. How basically there is how basically the people basically are still healthy, how basically they are having the healthy life basically. They are basically power supply and energy companies are doing lots of things basically. It's for the public basically. It's not like that basically they are not doing anything basically. They are not doing anything basically. It's not like that basically, because they have the data basically. That's why basically they are doing. If they don't have the data, then basically they can't do anything basically. They are also hopeless basically. So everything is basically data. For example, one of the data is text box equal to 1000 cities. So text box also generates death basically. Text box equal to what basically? 1000 cities now basically. 1000 city energy basically. Word is created from where basically? It is also created from set of cities basically. Notepad is created from which basically? Which data? That is cities basically. Notepad created from where basically? That is also created from city. Reason basically I will tell you. Assume that somebody basically opened the notepad and then basically started writing each and everything basically. So now notepad is going to give the ideas basically to his brain basically. Nobody else is going to give that. That's why basically each and every objects basically which is getting created, that is going to generate set of ideas basically. That type, that much power basically they have basically. That much power they basically have it. So basically see the earthquake basically. Turkey, Iran. Then basically the Japan. Then again Turkey, Syria. Turkey is basically getting lots of earthquake. When I'm recording that time basically the Turkey is getting lots of earthquakes. See basically. See basically. This website basically is very dangerous website. Lots of people says that अरे यार इनको तो क्या है थोड़ा एक नंबर ही तो डालना है this magnitude that magnitude. What else basically they are doing? But see the description basically what they are doing up to. This magnitude is coming, then basically this many death basically will happen, and this basically filters the data basically. So filter, 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 filter. 25% basically data keeps on. 25% data basically are in the death row basically. So you can just imagine basically it's not so easy basically. Lots of people says that ये तो गुजरात में तो इतना ही तो मैग्नेट डाटा है basically. But government basically takes very seriously basically. Government takes very seriously basically, because they know actually what actually this magnitude is, because when they are going to get the data basically that is connecting to the, so one of the person told that basically this data government gets basically or this data basically, that basically was very dangerous question basically. Few people says that this data basically they gets in advance basically. Reason, the power supply company basically they give data in advance basically, and after that basically they basically are going to send the power supply data to the environment, and then basically the magnitude happens basically. So whatever data basically you have gotten basically that you have to send, that also basically 100% you have to send basically, whatever magnitude basically is. For example, 7 point something basically magnitude basically earthquake data basically came basically, and that power supply basically came, and in this basically lots of disaster also basically going to happen, and lots of diseases are also going to happen basically, and lots of people are also going to die. Then also you have to pass the data basically, then also you have to pass the data. In that basically the main thing is the saving people basically saves the 75% data basically, saves the 75% data, and 25% people only basically dies. So lots of people says that basically hospital basically AIMS oxygen basically are doing what basically, so they are doing this all things basically, see basically they are doing this all thing basically. For example, one person died basically from brain cancer basically, assume basically assume basically I died from the brain cancer, just taking as an example basically, I don't have any disease, just taking it as an example. So what is the current location of Sunil R. Nair? So Sky Group told that basically you just a few days basically told that basically it is India. Then basically I told yes basically it's in India basically, and basically it's in Vadodara city. So AIMS oxygen will be responsible for death. Then few people says that basically nowadays basically in Delhi basically people's Delhi groups basically plays very safely basically, like Congress plays safely basically. They created Aam Aadmi Party, they created BJP, they created their Samajwadi Party, they created their Basapa. Like this basically they have created many parties. If they want to do that task now basically, they tell these parties. If they want to do those tasks, then they tell these parties. Like this basically they have created many parties basically, and they keeps on doing basically their task safely without any error basically. So like this basically many things basically are created. So AIMS group also basically has created lots of things basically, so that basically nobody can basically damage AIMS basically in Delhi basically. Nobody can damage AIMS hospital basically in Delhi. So you can just imagine basically it's very dangerous basically. It's not so easy to handle anything basically. So one of the person told that this light basically you can see, this one switch off on going, that also generates death data basically. So you can just imagine basically how dangerous basically it is. One of the person told that basically यार मैं तो grapes खा रहा था, grapes also contains death data basically, but which grapes basically containing the death data na, that basically is very difficult to tell basically. That's very dangerous basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this.